Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're looking at a really tense situation unfolding in the Middle East. It's about the increasing worry around Iran's nuclear program and, the possibility of Israel taking military action.
Yeah, it's definitely front and center right now.
We've got a news report here that pulls together information from Reuters, the IAEA, and various government statements. And the big headline grabbing our attention is Russia's stark warning. They're talking about catastrophic consequences if Israel does strike Iran's nuclear facilities.
A very strong statement.
So our goal today is to sort of cut through the noise, understand the immediate risks, and see how the world is bracing itself for what might come next.
And that warning from Russia, it's significant mainly because of its bluntness, I think. Deputy Foreign Minister Ryabkov's direct statement to Reuters, calling any attack a red line that would provoke a severe response from the region.
Well, that's not your typical diplomatic language, is it?
No, not at all. It feels much more direct. Exactly. It suggests maybe a serious shift in the regional dynamic, or perhaps Russia sees its own strategic interests as being directly threatened by something like that.
And this red line comment, it comes against a backdrop of some, pretty concerning events at Iranian nuclear facilities just recently. You had, back in April 2024, the Natanz enrichment plant hit by what they suspect was a cyber attack, reportedly messing with their uranium enrichment.
Right, disrupting operations.
Then last December, the Fordo facility, explosions there, minor damage, but many suspect Israeli involvement. And just last month, March 2025, drones were intercepted near the Isfahan uranium conversion plant. That definitely raised security concerns. The report notes Iran has blamed Israel for, all of this, though, predictably. There's been no official confirmation from Tel Aviv. Could these attacks be more than just disruptive? Are they maybe form of pressure?
That's a crucial point, I think. While we can't, confirm who's behind them for sure, these incidents do fit a pattern. It's often called the shadow war between Israel and Iran, this series of covert actions and responses.
Right, tit for tat almost.
Something like that. And Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu, he's been very clear about their stance. They see a nuclear-armed Iran as a direct threat, an existential threat, really. And he said repeatedly that all options are on the table to stop that from happening.
And the intelligence reports mentioned in the article about Iran enriching uranium up to 60% purity. That must fuel those Israeli anxieties.
Absolutely. Even though Iran insists its program is peaceful, that 60% figure is technically significant. It's a big step closer to the level needed for weapons-grade material. Still not there, importantly, but much closer. It definitely raises alarms in Tel Aviv and elsewhere.
Okay, so you've got this escalating shadow war, this very firm Israeli position, and now Russia's really forceful warning. How are other key global players reacting to this potential flashpoint?
Well, it's created widespread international unease, really. The U.S. is in a difficult spot. They're urging restraint, but at the same time, they're reaffirming their commitment to Israel's security. It's a tricky balance.
Yeah.
The European Union, they've voiced concerns, too, specifically about a potential regional spillover. They even referenced the 2024 Gaza conflict, calling for de-escalation.
Understandable fear there.
And then you have the IAEA, the International Nuclear Watchdog. They're deeply concerned by what they see as a lack of transparency from Iran. They're pushing for more access, more inspections, but those efforts, unfortunately, have stalled.
Which just adds to the tension, right? It paints a picture of a really fragile situation. The report even quotes an anonymous UN official describing the Middle East as a powder keg, highlighting the risks, the very real risk, of a much bigger conflict erupting from just one miscalculation.
Exactly. It feels incredibly volatile.
And it seems like diplomacy isn't offering an easy way out right now. The nuclear deal talks are still in limbo, the report says. Why have those stalled?
The reasons are complex. There are disagreements on several key issues, things like the scope of sanctions relief for Iran, the extent of international monitoring of its nuclear activities. This diplomatic deadlock, it unfortunately removes a crucial off-ramp in this whole tense situation. It increases the risk that other potentially more dangerous actions might be considered.
Yeah, it removes that safety valve.
It does. And what's also striking is how interconnected everything is. The covert actions, the public statements like Russia's, the international reactions, the stalled diplomacy. It all feeds into this highly volatile environment.
Okay, so just to quickly pull it all together for everyone listening, Russia has issued this very strong warning against any attack on Iran's nuclear sites. This comes after a recent history of suspected Israeli actions against those very sites.
Mhm.
Israel remains adamant about preventing a nuclear-armed Iran.
Yeah.
And the international community, broadly worried about the significant risk of a wider conflict, especially with diplomatic efforts kind of stuck. It definitely feels like we're at a critical point.
It certainly does. And, this interconnectedness you mentioned, it leads to maybe a final thought for our listeners. Given how deeply intertwined global politics and economics are today, think about how a regional conflict in the Middle East, even when seemingly focused just on these nuclear concerns, how might that create ripples? Ripples that extend far beyond the region and end up affecting seemingly unrelated aspects of our world, maybe even our daily lives.
That's a really significant question to keep in mind, how the local becomes global very quickly.
Exactly. Something to mull over as we continue to watch how this situation develops.